The curse of seeing too much. The psychology of people who see what others don't. A Pizzaverse Studios production. A Palermo Productions original. Written by Bambi Palermo. Narrated by Vincent DiPrio. Most people move through life believing what they see and trusting what they're told. They hear the words. They see the smiles. They accept the performance. But some people, they don't see the performance. They see the cracks behind it. They notice the hesitation in a voice, the tension behind a smile, the emotion someone tried to hide but couldn't fully control. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. This isn't a gift. It's a burden. Because the truth is, seeing everything comes with a cost. Isolation. Overthinking. Emotional exhaustion. And the terrifying realization that most people don't actually want the truth. They just want comfort. So what happens to the person who can't stop seeing through everything? Do they become stronger? Or do they slowly break under the weight of it? There's a type of person who always sees what others miss. These are people who can catch the tiniest facial expressions, read emotions others try to hide, and notice psychological patterns no one else sees. They can easily see through social masks, spot things right away, and feel the unspoken tension in any room. Most people call it sharp intuition, a great gift of intelligence. But the truth is, this ability is actually a harsh psychological burden. Because seeing through everything always comes with a heavy price. These people can't just switch off their minds, act naive, and maintain normal social relationships. Constantly noticing fake behavior pushes them into isolation, doubt, and complete emotional exhaustion. Not because they're unstable, but because they carry the weight of truths that no one else understands. This is an extremely dangerous line to walk. This rare level of awareness will either slowly destroy them or turn them into someone extraordinary. Today we're going to break down the psychology of people who see what others don't, and how they can avoid being consumed by their own minds. To understand why some people can see what others miss, we need to take the spiritual angle off the table. From a neuroscience point of view, this comes from high-speed data processing, called thin slicing, combined with the ability to detect incongruence. Imagine the average human brain as an audience watching a play. They look at the stage and believe everything the actors say. But the brain of a highly perceptive person works differently. Their subconscious is watching the velvet curtain behind the stage. They notice the broken props, the prompter's hand, the actor's nervous sweat. Their brain is a 24/7 data collection machine, always searching for inconsistencies in behavior. Human beings communicate through two channels, verbal and nonverbal. Most people focus on words. But people who see through things have a built-in radar system that is extremely sensitive to the nonverbal channel. They pay attention to what Dr. Paul Ekman calls micro-expressions, tiny facial movements that flash by in just 1/5 to 1/25 of a second, revealing the real emotion a person is trying to hide. When a coworker says, "I'm really happy you got promoted," the perceptive person immediately catches the incongruence. They hear the voice rise half a tone, notice the smile doesn't reach the eyes, or catch a quick flicker of jealousy. The brain instantly sends up an alert. Data error. The words and the body don't match. Something's off. This process happens unconsciously and in a flash. It's like tasting a bowl of soup and knowing it's salty. They don't need to overthink it. The mind simply reports the truth. But the scariest part isn't seeing the lie, it's seeing the reason behind it. When pattern recognition combines with theory of mind, they strip away the mask and see the other person's insecurity and fear. They look at a boss who is yelling and see a child terrified of losing control. They look at someone who keeps bragging and see a pit of insecurity craving validation. That might sound like a huge advantage in communication. But in reality, seeing through people often pushes them into 3 exhausting psychological traps. Trap 1. Becoming the accidental villain. In Greek mythology, there was a prophetess named Cassandra. Apollo gave her the gift of seeing the future and knowing the truth, but it came with a cruel curse. No one would ever believe her. People with this kind of perception in modern life are the Cassandras of social relationships. Human society runs on polite lies and social masks. We need them to keep things smooth, to avoid constant conflict. Everyone silently agrees to participate in this shared performance. Then someone shows up who refuses to play along. They're the ones without the sunglasses, the ones shining a spotlight into the corners. Everyone is trying to keep hidden. Take dating. Someone shows up polished, charming, talking about big success and a perfect life. Most people get swept up in it, but not them. Within minutes, they've already mapped the psychological structure. They see the overconfidence as overcompensation, the constant checking for reactions as performance, the enthusiasm as manipulation. When they say something feels off, people dismiss them. You're too picky. They seem great. Because others only see the surface, they see what's underneath. With no proof other than intuition, they become the villain. The same thing happens at work or in friend groups. They disrupt the script. A coworker plays the victim to gain sympathy. Everyone comforts them. But the perceptive person sees missed deadlines and manipulation. They say one honest sentence, and everything shifts. Suddenly, they're the problem. This is projection and ego defense. When someone feels exposed, they don't accept it. They attack the source. So the perceptive person becomes cold, arrogant, judgmental. Truth doesn't earn respect. It creates discomfort. And people instinctively push away what makes them uncomfortable. Over time, these individuals learn a brutal rule: clarity makes others uneasy. So they go quiet. They smile, they nod, they pretend not to see. And that silence leads to the next trap. Trap 2, the obsession with reading people. When they stop trusting what others say, they begin trusting only their own analysis. Observation turns into overanalysis. Let's call it the detective trap. Because they're used to spotting lies, they start assuming everything has a hidden meaning. A compliment isn't just a compliment, it's a setup. A gift isn't romance, it's guilt. A late reply isn't busyness, it's distance. They live in constant high alert. Why? To avoid getting hurt. They believe if they can predict betrayal, they can avoid pain. But this creates a cognitive distortion called confirmation bias. Once they suspect something, their brain filters everything to prove it. They stop living in reality and start living in imagined futures. They never get fooled. But they never relax either. Peace, trust, emotional ease, those become luxuries. They can hear every crack in the structure, but they can't enjoy the music. And that leads to the final trap. Trap 3. Becoming an emotional dumping ground. This is a specific kind of loneliness. Not being alone, but being surrounded and still disconnected. They see everything. At a wedding, they notice tension behind smiles. They sense instability beneath celebration. They know something's wrong, but they can't say it. Because no one would believe them, and speaking up would ruin everything. So they stay quiet. They carry the weight. They see coworkers being used, friends being manipulated, relationships falling apart in slow motion. And they hold it all inside. At the same time, because they read people so well, they become highly adaptable. They know what others need. They become supportive, understanding, easy to be around. But no one reads them. No one asks what they need. They become invisible in their own lives. The one who understands everyone is understood by no one. So what's the way out? They can't turn this ability off. That's like asking someone with perfect vision to pretend they're blind. The goal isn't to see less. The goal is to respond differently. Principle 1. Strategic ignorance. Know everything, but don't react to everything. Seeing something doesn't make it your responsibility. Not every truth needs to be exposed. Sometimes the smartest move is to observe and move on. Principle 2. Accept social masks. Not all masks are malicious. Most people hide pain, insecurity, and fear. Understanding this replaces judgment with empathy. You don't have to expose everything you see. Sometimes letting people feel safe is more important than being right. Principle 3. Forgive uncertainty. Stop trying to control every outcome. If there's risk in a relationship, accept it. Enjoy what's real in the present. You can see the thorns, but still choose to smell the rose. When they learn this balance, their perception evolves. They stop being an X-ray machine and become something better. A lighthouse. They still see the danger. But instead of exposing everything, they guide themselves and others through it. This kind of awareness is a brutal gift. But when mastered, it becomes one of the most powerful forms of wisdom. If you see yourself in this, understand something. You're not alone. If this brought you value, share it with someone who might need it. And if you want to keep exploring the deeper side of psychology, stay tuned. I'll see you next time.